Real talk alert.
Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 5 of Wheel Talk, the podcast all about EUCs and the community. This episode will be a little bit different. We're going to be answering your questions. That, and this is our last podcast at this address. So we've been crazy busy. You can probably see the mess behind us. This is all Ken's mess, by the way. We've been crazy busy getting prepped to move to our bigger site in Tingalpa. We shared that last week or last podcast. Big job, right?
Very big job.
Steve's been busy organising the phones and the insurance.
That's not all. I've been painting.
He's been painting. He has been painting.
Doing other things too.
Yeah. As always, I should say we're joined with Amy behind the camera.
Hey, Amy.
She doesn't have a camera or a microphone today, so you won't be able to see her. Let me do this actually really quickly. This is very off the fly. Hang on. Record. Say hi, Amy.
Hi.
So we're going to go through. I put a post onto the E-RIDERZ community and asked what questions do you have, and we got about 23, 24 responses. We'll do our best to go through all of them today and just answer them if we can. There's a couple we saw in there that need longer explanations, which could actually be a really good separate video, which we'll focus on once we've moved. We'll talk about the move, and we'll also talk about Steve's hands. You may have seen E-RIDERZ has launched their own PEV Armoured gloves, working with a factory overseas, and we're calling this the PEV Armoured Glove V1, and we have sold out of the first round, and we've already been given a whole lot of really valuable feedback, little small tweaks. We've already got V2 in production right now on their way, so if you are looking for some armoured gloves, check out our website. You can order them right now. You can do back order, and we should have them in Australia by the 18th. A couple of the upgrades we've done, we've added a little pull tab onto the wrist strap, so it's not all Velcro down, so you don't wreck those fingers trying to get it off. We've added, this bit here is now going to be reflective, which is really nice, and we've just added a few other little bits and pieces here and there. So check out the website. I think, what are they on sale for? $109.
That's right. Pretty excited to be able to make tweaks to our own versions.
Exactly.
So yeah, really cool to be able to have some E-RIDERZ branded ones. So we got some good changes coming.
Yeah, really exciting.
We'll add some more products into the range. These ones are quite vented, so
These are definitely summer gloves.
they're what we would call summer gloves because they are actually quite cool to ride with, thanks to the vents. So pretty good airflow.
Yeah,
but does make it a little bit, during the colder nights riding.
Yeah, but we will be working on a winter version. Chris Spencer, one of our long-time customers over in Perth, he said they're the most aerated gloves he's ever worn. So they do get a lot of airflow through. So in summer they're going to be really, really nice. But just keep that in mind. These are not winter gloves, but we are going to be working on them as of right now. So once we get
a good level of protection for
top and bottom,
an aerated and
top and bottom guards, and both guards can be removed and replaced, which is cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we are moving, as you can see. I'm taking my microphone. There are EUC bodies everywhere. We've got stacks of tires, the bearing press, all the workshops starting to get broken down. If you can see through into the shop over there, there's just, it's crazy. We're going to begin the truck tomorrow, Saturday, start moving Saturday, Sunday, and hopefully we'll be done by Wednesday morning.
It's quite a task when you think about how long it took us to get this warehouse functional and up and running the way we wanted it. We've basically got to disassemble all that now and then reassemble it at a new site where we haven't planned it all out, mapped it all out quite fully yet.
So gloves, moving. Let's move on to the Q&A really quickly. As I said, we've got 23, 24 questions in there. Some of them are really good. Some of them will require a longer form video. Amy, what's our first question?
Any inkling of a high capacity battery version for the Lynx for longer range on the horizon, even a smelly lift or rumor?
Okay, so Kang from Sydney is basically asking if there is a bigger battery Lynx coming.
As soon as the Lynx came out, he was like,
he wants more range.
Like the wheel for me.
Yeah.
But
did he buy one?
No, he's waiting for
That's
the
right,
next version. Look, at this stage, there is no updates on an upgraded Lynx. There is some talk.
Just the way you said that was gonna I thought you were gonna give. There is.
There is some talk about an updated Sherman S.
You allowed to say that?
I'm just thinking it through now on the fly. So yeah, but not Lynx yet. So maybe give it another 3 months. We'll see. Not yet, Kang.
Right.
Give it another few months.
Sorry, Kang. Kang bought some gloves, by the way, and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Amy, next question.
Next one comes from Jason Barnes.
Jason Barnes.
Parts to it.
He rides a V13.
Okay, so repairs and customization, like type of Velcro, do you guys carry it? Aftermarket pads and bearings? I think that's bearings. Do you
No,
guys
bearings.
fix bed rims, replace tires and other parts? And then also, what can we do to get laws changed in the states where it's not legal?
So many questions.
And someone else also said, yeah, and how can they become legal in Queensland ACT so we can learn from it?
That's a whole episode.
It is a whole episode. Really quickly, we do carry some Velcro. We have some leftover stuff from some things we've done. So we do have some
We
Velcro.
found that just buying rolls of
From Bunnings.
Velcro from Bunnings works quite
Yep.
nicely. You can get the thick hook and then loop that matches. We don't have any professional kits or anything
No.
other than what already comes in the boxes with those
The Bedow,
sort of
Bedow, whatever you call
the
them.
Bedo
Yeah.
three piece per side set. They do come with cutout Velcro that fits the size of the pattern or links.
Yep. The thing is, a lot of the pads we sell now, because it was the second part of the question, we do sell BD3s, BD2s, Type Cs, Type Bs, all made by Bedow, Bedow, however you want to pronounce it.
Bedo.
Yep. These are the pads that come
They're the
made
same ones that
for the
Emotion
patterns.
V14.
Exactly. Same pads that are
patterns,
in
so
motion.
They're doing a good job, and
They-
they are quite popular.
Yeah. And they are really, really nice. Like, you can look at other ones that are made over there which are 3D printed, which are really, really nice. But for, I would say, half the price, if not more, these are very, very good pads. The BD3s and BD2s and the one we called the fishbone, which is for the smaller wheels.
What other aspects to that can we cover in this little short?
I think
segment?
that's the main question. We have pads. We don't fix
When it comes to
pad
the
rims.
legalities and everything, that's a long process.
Sorry, Ken's just standing up on the desk, whacked his head. You can tell this is a very different episode of Wheel Talk. We're going to leave all this in. Right, next question. I think we've answered that pretty well, but we can do a full episode on workshop services that we'll be providing at the next site.
There's also the part about,
We do tubes
Laws.
and tires.
I feel like that might
The laws one's a really hard one to do, especially as a bit like we saw in Sydney where they pushed and pushed and pushed, and they had a councillor on side, and they had meetings and so on, and then there was a change in councillor, and he just basically sent a letter out saying, I don't have time for this, it's not on my radar, how sad, too bad, never mind. We're lucky in Queensland, the guys are lucky in some states where it is legal. Places like New South Wales and Victoria, it's you just gotta do the right thing, ride sensibly, talk to your local councillor. Like, what else can you do to promote this as a safe sport? Like,
Yeah, it's partly the other states that do have current, it is in the legislation now. Basically that's how it kind of started rolling out, because it was added to the the Australian road rules, but that hadn't been implemented into each state's legislation because it's up to each state to choose. So yeah, part of it's just being patient, and the ones that are out there in the states where it's legal to set a good example.
good example is the biggest thing, I honestly think.
It is,
Like,
because they're looking to the other states to see what's successful. They don't want to make the mistakes that have all these unsuccessful injuries and issues that come up by adopting it themselves. So once it's shown to be ironed out and working for other states, it'll be a much easier process for some of the other states that are a bit slower in adopting new legislation to get it on board.
Yep, totally agree. Next question.
Just a question or a statement you might want to comment on from
We are also.
Paul.
This is from Paul Dooley. Yep.
No more talk about the links. The world has had enough.
Okay, so Paul.
And someone else said, have not.
Yeah. So Paul, I think Paul was interested in links. Maybe he ended up going for an extreme.
Yeah.
I get what he's saying. It is the wheel of 2024 really so far.
Yeah.
So yeah, there'll still be lots of talk, and there's lots of videos, and we still have made no videos on the links because we still don't have one. We keep selling out. Like, every time we get another shipment in, we go, that's our shop one, and then they sell out.
Yeah, we get to ride Ken's.
We ride
but-
Ken's, yeah.
But that's about it at the moment.
Ken just smiles. All right, next question.
This one might also be a good one to get Ken's opinion on.
All right.
It's from Phil Lamb. He wants to know if we've got any tips and tricks you guys have found along the way whilst working on wheels. Would be good to highlight wheel maintenance and things that should be checked or timed, etc.
I've got one.
Alright.
I've tried to encourage Ken to get on to Wheel Talk to actually do like a tech talk for this purpose.
Yes.
And one of the things is
yeah, did you hear-
do not
you-
put in motors backwards.
Ken said don't put V12 motors specifically.
V12, but also S22,
Yeah.
V11, all the hollow motors.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for someone who's new to doing tire changes on a hollow, motor.
And this goes
EUC?
for, and this goes for scooter shops and bike shops. Anyone who doesn't actually specifically deal with EUC.
Exactly.
We've seen it happen time and time again.
We've had people take their wheels to a shop that can do tire changes, but the wheel, when the motor is put in back to front because they haven't marked it properly and taken note of which side the cable comes out and so forth, if it's installed incorrectly and turned on, it's just going to shoot out of your hands and break itself on the wall.
Hit the wall, blow the board again.
We've had numerous instances of this happen.
Yep.
And biggest one, if you've got a hollow motor, no axles, then be very careful when you take it out to make sure that you reinstall it in the same orientation after you've put your tire on.
My number one tip is take photos before you start unplugging anything. Take photos and label
Photos
well.
are helpful in little labels. Yeah. Oh, another good one. You've reminded me on that one. When you are working with a board, you should always, after disconnecting the batteries, also discharge the board by pressing and holding the power button until the caps are. So basically, that can prevent a lot of zaps on the board.
Yeah, because the capacitors, even when they're unplugged, can they store electricity.
And
so
that way you can still have a short occur.
But that sounds like a whole episode.
We'll do more
tech
of these
talk,
in
wheel
future.
talk, tech talk, wheel tech talk.
We'll tell talk.
Wheel tech talk. Amy's rolling her eyes at us. Next question, Amy.
All right, Amy.
There's actually about 2 in here, I think, from EUC Wheeler.
Okay.
So first one is just what's hot and what's not.
Okay. Yep.
And
Links.
Links.
Honestly though, Lynx
Sorry, Paul.
V14, V1450S, Falcon, A2. What's not hot? I don't know. The V8s have fallen out of favour a little bit recently. 14Ds are still selling really well. The M104s are having a resurgence. We can't get them in stock as well.
Yeah, A2 is kind of like a new go-to wheel for people who just want a solid sort of starter wheel that they're not going to necessarily grow out of too quickly and can,
S16 Pro, very hot. Sold out. Can't get them in stock as well.
Yeah, we have got 10 more coming.
Yeah.
But
I think like the V8 and maybe the 16S, the non-suspension, they've fallen off flavour.
Yeah. Obviously, with the increase of suspension wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
Suspension is hot.
Yeah.
And non-suspension is not.
Exactly.
So, that's kind of the trend that we're seeing.
Next question. What next part of Dale's on?
this one might also be a good one for Ken to chime in on, or it's also just be a whole episode. Most common repairs/problems.
Most common repair/problem.
I can throw a few in there.
Yeah.
I think bearings is one for people that have ridden through deep water. If you ride through water
Above
where
the
it
tyre.
gets to more than the midpoint of the motor, then you're at a risk.
Yep.
It can, riding through puddles, if it's not too deep, just sprays off. But if you ride through deep enough water where it can hit the middle of a hollow core motor bearing, then you are increasing your chances substantially of having noisy bearings.
Yep.
So that's one.
Soft sand.
Soft sand and
Confuses the gyro.
wet grass on some models can cause them to, even when you're just standing on the side of your wheel and then it kind of spins out, sometimes that can be enough to just blow boards.
Riding with too low a tire pressure.
Oh yeah, so that's a common one. Just make sure you keep your tire pressure high enough because that will avoid pinch flats.
Yep. And the flip side of that is having your tire pressure too high and the wheel feels like it's too wobbly and directional.
That's right. So you got to find that in between point for your weight and your risk profile of riding.
He's just said ERL.
Yeah, so Dale's also asked about ERL. So ERL Electric Racing League, they've got another event. I assume he's talking about the event coming up in Queensland in September. It's the National Track Championships. We were definitely I know, Amy just gave me the thumbs up because I said it right the first time. E-RIDERZ was definitely planning to be there and be a sponsor and go ahead and take the whole shop with bikes and have the whole team there. Unfortunately, there was a couple of date changes and location changes.
Due to the tracks not being available when
and
they're supposed to be.
Yeah, and unfortunately, by the time they had announced the date publicly, we had already had prior arrangements because it is unfortunately Father's Day weekend. Both Steve and I are actually it's separate.
We make a lot of sacrifices throughout the year
Yeah.
when it comes to family and other things, and when we actually organise something for the odd occasion,
Yeah, so I'm actually going to be. I think I'm going to be in Sydney. I haven't been told. I just know I've got a mystery weekend planned by my family, and I know Steve has something planned as well, which Amanda has spoken to us about. So, unfortunately, what that means is we can't be there. We are still going to support our races, and we've got our race jumpers coming. Yeah. Talking to some of the racers in Perth and anywhere else who wants to assistance with getting their wheels here. Like Perth, for example, I think has 5 or 6 people. They want to organise to get a pallet shipped to our address, which we're more than happy to assist with. But as far as actually being a sponsor and being there on the day to do learn to ride lessons and jumps and have fun, all that sort of thing, unfortunately, we can't
be involved this time around.
Not this time around, yeah.
Hopefully next time.
Next time, yeah. Next question.
This one comes from Julian Richards. This one, full
Hey, Julian.
archive of secondhand / broken parts / leftovers.
Okay, so we're not going to... I think I replied to that one. As you can see behind us,
Yeah.
that's too big a job.
There's a whole section over there on pallets with numerous boxes filled with that Lucas has been packing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just in a tight spot.
We've got boards. Take them off.
But we will be making it a bit more obvious in future what we've got available, because there is still a lot of parts that people don't realize we have. We normally just do that via conversations with our customers when they come in, need maintenance, need whatever. But yeah, we're going to take the extra time to make it listed out properly so that our viewers and website, email, etc., will have access to.
Because we've got
those.
a heap ton.
There is a lot of
tons
different stuff.
parts. Next question.
This one comes from Taz. Coming for an absolute easy newbie and possibly Mark 1, I'd love to hear about recommendations for wheels specific to racing and how the different brands compare to one another on the track. Looks like there's quite a few out there to choose from.
Welcome to the episode, Ken.
This is race talk.
Yeah, this is a bit of a race talk. What do we see difference between some of the brands and also anything maybe specific on models for someone who's wanting to get into the race scene? I think before you jump into the race scene, you definitely just want to get familiar with riding EUCs in different kinds of conditions and getting some technical skills down pat. But let's say you've, I don't know, suspension or non-suspension, if someone wants to get into it. What do you think, Ken?
Oh, well, that's mostly, it's suspension, but not because of the suspension itself. It's because of suspension wheels is where you're going to find all of the high power wheels. Like the...
all right, Ken, you're out. No, I'm joking. Keep going.
Yeah, because of your main contenders will be, you got your Lynx for your kind of do everything wheel. It's lightweight, high speeds. And you don't really need battery for racing, even though it's got plenty of it.
It would be nice to see some other models, like maybe some V14s and other things on the track, perhaps?
V14 and Pattern
but
and
with the
Extreme,
right tyre, I guess.
those would do really well on a smaller track, smaller, windier track, because they've got heaps of punch. They
That's
just
right.
don't have the top speeds to really make it on like the long straights, like on the big ERL high-speed tracks. But
bit in and out of the corners, torquey wheels.
yeah,
Lots of maneuverability,
and
nimble.
there's also because right now you've got like the Lynx and then you've got the ET Max. I don't actually know too much about the ET Max. I know some of the guys in Spain who have them have chosen to ride Lynxes instead.
Yep.
But a wheel I'm pretty excited for is the F22. And I know there's a lot of skepticism with it, but just like with I'm hoping the F22 is going to be in the same category as the V14. And by that I mean the V14 sort of took InMotion from one direction into another. It was a big change in how they made their wheels, and it makes the future of InMotion pretty exciting. The V14 has tons of torque, 9,000 watts. They've got crazy controller in it that will just dish out crazy amounts of power. And
Totally different function for the wheel and different audience.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and
because they've pretty much been more like the the safe kind of tame option.
And that's what I'm hoping the F22 is for Kingsong. I'm not sure if they're gonna do it or not, but if they can do that same sort of like taking it in a broad new direction, real performance.
And you've raced on the S22.
Yeah.
But you did find, especially on, some areas of the track, you were close to sort of overpowering it.
Yeah. It feels great to ride until you have to.
But the higher
drag race
voltage
somebody.
links, since you've been riding that wheel, you've been finding that you just aren't able to really overpower it. Like you're not hitting that. Yeah, had to keep testing the beeper. Is it beeping?
Yeah, and it's loud. You can hear it when it does beep. Even the other day I was like, oh yeah, finally I've gotten some beeps out of my links, and it wasn't even power beeps. I looked through my settings and then I realized, I got the beep set at 80 kilometers per hour. It wasn't even a power beep.
On
even
private property though, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. All right, thanks, Ken. Get back to work, mate.
Next question.
This one comes from Steve Mark. It might be an interesting piece to comment on how many units of each model you've been selling over the last couple of months, just to get a gauge of what is the most sought after wheel.
Most sought after, probably just lately, has been
Lynx
and
A2. Surprising.
A2 and V14.
V14, yeah.
Those three are probably the highest.
Yep. And S16 Pro.
Oh yeah. Before we ran out of stock, it was selling quite.
The S16 Pro is one of those enigmas that you kind of go, I don't see the point, and then people come and test ride it, and they go, I'll take that.
Yeah, someone called us out on kind of making out in our videos about S16 Pro being a beginner wheel. We don't think it's a beginner wheel. We think it's great for beginners to consider because it's a wheel that can do it all, and you won't just grow out of it straight away. So it's not that we think only beginners or kids or whatever it's suitable for. We think it's that and so much more. It's been my favorite wheel
you ride it every day to
ride. Yeah. So, and I've ridden off-road with it. I ride it to the shops and everything back every day. So yeah, it's just a great all-round wheel.
But I think biggest seller over the last 2 months, Lynx.
Yep.
Followed by V14.
Yep.
Followed by S16. Followed by A2. And maybe I think A2 would probably be on par with the T4, T4 Pro, and the S19.
Yeah, a mix of those different ones.
Yeah, but definitely Lynx and V14 and V14/50S. Right, next question. She is going to get her own microphone and camera very shortly, I swear.
Just on the ground with all the EC parts. Alright. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on this idea. What if there was a light vehicle / micro mobility class in Australia tailored to bike lanes or similar? It could have restrictions based on size, weight, and speed rather than battery size, so it could include EECs. This way it could include future technologies, and there wouldn't be a need for separate legislations for every new iteration. So like quadricycles, off-road wheelchairs, nanomobiles, cargo ECs, whatever. As long as they have smart BMS, are low emissions, and have a speed limiter or something, it might also make it easier to push for all sorts of micro-mobility on interstate trains. Any thoughts, news, and ideas? This one is from Luan.
Okay.
No, next question.
That one, we totally get where you're coming from, because when it comes to... There's two layers, right? There's importation categories, in which case there is a general personal mobility device category.
Yeah, because
which falls into all sorts of things.
Yeah, but like every shipment we get, we have to fill in customs declaration.
Yeah,
we have to get import
approvals for things to say these are not
XYZ.
Yeah. And as a result of that, though, that doesn't carry across to the legislation for Australian road rules, or even for state legislation in each of the different states. So unfortunately, there isn't a consistency there. There is. It's weird that they actually categorize it differently for importation purposes, but they think once it's in here, then it's up to whatever each state does when it comes to legislation. So we personally, like, I would be an advocate of having a more general personal mobility device category that has its rules for, using bike lanes or whatever it may be. But unfortunately, it's a struggle enough to just get bikes, scooters, and general mobility devices to be able to get access even to the bike lanes.
Yeah, it could be something that will be coming in like the next 2-3 years. The more and more people who get this, the more states that accept it, the more good behaviours we demonstrate. You know, wear helmets and not knocking people down and doing the wrong thing. Yeah. But as of right now, there's
and at the moment they do categorise personal mobility so that you can, in the same way, have a scooter, an EUC, etc., in different states. But there are strict requirements on speed, where you can ride them, and for example in WA, where there's also a weight limit, an unusual and debated weight limit,
25 kilos,
something like 21 or
25
kilos. So yeah, very odd, but still an improvement.
Still better than New South Wales, where you can't ride them at all.
That's it, and the same with Vic. So although there are trials going on in those places. So yeah.
Next question.
This is the last one.
Last question, good.
Ronnie, this one.
Ronnie from Melbourne. Ronnie Coe, yep.
This one, lots of people might already know, but just good in case they want to miss it. Update on Link's replacement top cover for his sticky power solution, please.
Yeah, so they've all been shipped out. Everyone who bought a batch 1 received an email. I think they've all been shipped out now except for 3, which we're just waiting for people to pick up. We're waiting on Josh to pick up, and we're waiting for Michael to pick up. Michael, yes.
And we've been pretty full on.
Exactly.
Preparing and packing. So,
So they've been done. The feedback we've received is they've resolved the issue straight away, which is awesome. Yeah, that's it. No more questions. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
We've got a lot of work. We're doing several loads, Scott and I, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Trucking it back and forth.
We went to our favourite lunch place for one last visit today. So we went on a team lunch
somewhere new.
Yeah, did a team lunch at Brewdog.
We love riding over as a team and doing that.
Yep.
But yeah, we'll have to check out the new location.
I'm sure there'll be somewhere. Apparently, there's a very good, is it banh mi? Is that what you call it? Like a Vietnamese roll place, one street over. It's famous in Brisbane.
Okay.
And there's a few cafes and pubs around, so it'll be good. And we'll have to set up a whole wheel talk area and studio
we've got
set
a lot
up.
to set up. So I guess just be patient with us while we're doing that. If you don't hear back from us, please don't think that we've gone out of business.
So we had that silly message. I think we've spoken about once before.
Oh, we still can't get rid of it.
We still can't get rid of it. No. So if you message us on
and it says,
Instagram,
we are away now.
We are away. And someone's like, what happened? Why are you away? We're like, it's just a message. Don't worry.
Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah. All right. So final thoughts. Massive weekend ahead of us. Ken is not helping.
Yes, our next shipment is arriving soon at the new site.
Yes, that's a good point. We should talk about that.
So we've got
some Lynxes. I think we've got one A2 left, a couple of Lynxes left.
A2s.
A couple of 50S V14s.
More S16 Pros.
Yes,
from
more 14Ds.
More 14Ds and 16Xs.
Yeah, loads more parts. We've got a few people waiting on parts which are coming in. And then we've got our next shipment of bikes coming with some new models, which is really cool.
Yep.
We've got the beach cruisers coming.
Some cargo options.
A cargo option.
Another sort of two-seater option, which will be pretty cool.
And something else, I might cut this out. Something else Steve and I have been toying with the idea of creating, and it'll be under the Stater brand, and it'll be a drift cart. So if you've ever seen a drift cart, like a crazy cart, Ken's coming into the shop. No, he's not. We're just toying with the idea and speaking to some factories to see if we can make our own version of that.
Yep.
So we don't want to make a kid's version. We want it to be very much an adult toy, because that's what it'll be. We're looking at 1,000 watt motor.
Yeah, maybe. If
600
it works.
Between 600 to 1,000.
600 watt and 1,000 watt.
Yeah. 48 volt.
Yeah, and we're still considering like the batteries. It's basically like a souped up kids crazy drift cart.
Yeah, so there's really two companies that do it, right? There's the Razor, which do the mass produced ones, and then there's the guys in America, what's it called? Taxi Garage.
Yeah, so they make them.
Yeah,
so if you want to see what we're talking about, we can flick up a little video on there. Great fun for mucking around with mates. They can get up to say 30k an hour, but just the crazy drifting that you can do, it's pretty fun.
Pretty fun.
We figured that it'd be
we need at
least
two
in our
for the warehouse.
Yeah,
exactly.
But then that expands into other ideas. What other personal mobility devices can we
create, build and bring in,
and sell through E-RIDERZ, and maybe
something with 3 wheels that drifts as well.
Yeah,
who knows?
There's other options that we're looking at.
Steve's looking at electric golf carts.
Sound off in the comments what you think we should make.
Yeah, tell us.
Ken wants you to comment what we should build. We do have, the nice thing about what we've done with Stater is we've now got a really concrete relationship with some factories over in China who literally can design things for us within 7 days. So we can give them our vision, our ideas, and they can create CAD drawings and 3D renders. So we can actually build things now. Anything else? Any last messages? I'm gonna think.
Services jobs after July 1st.
Yeah, so if you should have already seen this, the service obviously is not operating right now.
Can't see over there where our workshop
Yeah,
parts were,
okay.
but yeah.
So we're aiming to be back up and running for service work, warranty work as of 1st of July. Could be a little bit sooner. If it is, then we'll deal with the warranty stuff first. I think there's only literally one job waiting, which is nice. But we've got a lot of requests for like tire changes, tube changes, that sort of thing. So as of 1 July, we are aiming to be up and running again with a full service centre. And yeah, Ken will be ready to rock and roll. So just, if you've got any questions, send them through to the service email address on our website. But again, don't expect a reply probably for the next 5 days, just because we literally have our computers packed.
We're waiting on
working
the
our
internet
phones.
to be reconnected at the new site and
Yeah.
everything else.
Exactly.
Oh, geez, I haven't got power sorted.
Have you?
Should have better go do that.
So that's it. I think that's the last episode from E-RIDERZ HQ V1.
Yeah.
The next episode will be E-RIDERZ HQ V2. We've been filling up holes in the wall where 16X pedals went through them. And
There was one
tyre mark
reel
from
that sort of spun out of control, had a weird hall issue and was bouncing off things.
and what was the tyre mark from on the wall by the window?
Customer lent a wheel up.
Yeah.
Was it a V12 or something on a box nearby, and it told us that it was doing weird things, and then it lent it there and then walked away from it and went to talk to us or something, and then it just took off and bounced off the walls and yeah.
We've got cleaners coming next week. Hopefully they can get all those marks off the floor. Anything else?
Not for now.
Anything from you, Amy?
Wish us luck.
Yeah.
We'll be working hard for the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Rushing to get everything.
Yeah. Ken, anything from you?
Looking forward to getting the new workshop set up.
Ken's looking forward to getting his new workshop.
We didn't tell Ken that he doesn't have a workshop.
No, I haven't told him yet. Ken's getting a little trailer. No, I'm joking. All right, let's end it there. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you've got any comments or questions, chuck them down below. And we will see you at E-RIDERZ HQ V2 very, very shortly.
Ride safe.
Real talk alert.